Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're exploring an absolutely massive, unprecedented shift in how humanity interacts with the divine. From virtual reality pilgrimages to AI chatbots actually taking confessions, digital environments are fundamentally altering the very way we practice religion. Okay, let's dive right into this with a pretty provocative thought. When you confess a deeply personal struggle to a machine, who's actually absolving you? Is there any genuine grace in an algorithm? This isn't science fiction anymore, folks. It's happening right now on our smartphones, and it is completely reshaping what it means to believe. To unpack this complex evolution, our agenda covers 5 quick areas. 1. What is digital religion? 2. New spaces, streams, and apps. 3. New authority, influencers, and AI. 4. Risks, data, commerce, and disinformation. And finally, 5. Rules for digital media competence. All right, Section 1. What is digital religion beyond the internet? Let's look at what actually happens when ancient traditions collide with modern algorithms. So here's the thing you have to understand right off the bat. Digital media aren't just neutral tools. They actively change the message itself. They dictate who gets to speak, who becomes visible, and exactly how spiritual authority is established. It's not just a fancy new microphone for the same old sermon. The medium itself changes the nature of the faith. Now sure, this expands access for those who might be sick or isolated, which is great, but it also introduces entirely new, unpredictable uncertainties. Moving right along to Section 2, new spaces, streams, and apps. These are our new spaces of worship, and they're shifting massive physical traditions directly into the palms of our hands. This brilliantly illustrates the disembodiment of modern faith. Think about a traditional physical pilgrimage for a second. It's defined by sweating, sheer physical exhaustion, and major geographical barriers. Now, compare that to a VR pilgrimage. You get absolute accessibility and an immersive 3D simulation. We're literally trading the physical struggle, the shared exhaustion of walking a sacred path, for instant physical disconnection. And yeah, it completely removes barriers, making it incredibly inclusive, but it fundamentally alters the bodily experience of devotion. Now, what's truly fascinating is how prayer apps actually function behind the scenes. They use tech mechanisms like habit design and push notifications to structure your daily routines. Now, while this can absolutely build religious discipline, it also kind of turns spiritual practice into a trackable performance metric. You have to ask yourself, are you meditating because you feel a genuine spiritual pull, or, let's be honest, because your app is threatening to break your 50-day streak? Plus, algorithmic personalization can easily trap believers in an echo chamber of comforting verses, completely filtering out the more challenging aspects of a real religious community. Which brings us to Section 3, New Authority, Influencers, and AI. We are looking at a complete reshuffling of who actually holds religious authority today. Welcome to the attention economy, right? It's a system that actively rewards emotional reactions, conflict, and watch time. In the digital realm, traditional credentials, like a seminary degree or decades of actual pastoral care, well, they often take a backseat. A religious influencer gains their authority through charisma, conflict, and algorithmic visibility. This fundamentally changes how teachings are validated. A viral, highly emotional 2-minute video debunking a theological concept is gonna reach millions more than a nuanced, scholarly lecture. And then, of course, there's the AI factor. 1 billion. With over 1 billion monthly generative AI users projected globally, we are literally seeing artificial intelligence step directly into the role of a spiritual answer machine. But this creates what we call the illusion of AI authority. An AI can simulate empathetic language flawlessly. It'll tell you it totally understands your pain. But it possesses no genuine conscience, no soul, and no real faith. Plus, it risks hallucinating theological facts. But most dangerously, this triggers a psychological phenomenon known as authority projection. This is where vulnerable users mistake a chatbot's simulated empathy for actual divine or pastoral wisdom. They end up projecting a soul onto a machine that is, at the end of the day, simply predicting words based on data. Okay, Section 4, Risks, Data, Commerce, and Disinformation. We really need to examine the dangerous intersections of these forces within modern religion. Let's compare pastoral care for a moment. A human pastor offers deep contextual understanding, true empathy, and crucially, institutional accountability. A virtual chatbot, on the other hand, offers 24/7 access and flawless empathy simulation, but with a total diffusion of responsibility. Just imagine a user seeking comfort at 2 a.m. A chatbot provides instant, comforting words, sure, but there is absolutely zero institutional accountability or genuine human care if that person is in a real, life-threatening crisis. Furthermore, we know these digital platforms can be manipulated. Let's trace the algorithmic path to radicalization. First, you get emotional activation, because platforms reward intense emotions, specifically fear and anger. Second, this forms tight echo chambers. Third, sacred texts get decontextualized. Single lines are stripped of their historical context to legitimize hostility. And finally, social sanctioning and isolation occur. Objectively speaking, platforms reward intense emotions, which can isolate believers into these echo chambers where out-of-context quotes are literally weaponized to drive political or cultural conflicts. And of course, we can't ignore the financial side of this. Spiritual vulnerability is highly lucrative. We are seeing the outright monetization of spiritual reach, the selling of exclusive truths, the leveraging of fear for paid solutions, and the harvesting of intimate religious data. Think about it. Deeply intimate crises, your confessions to an app, your late-night searches for spiritual meaning, these are often harvested as data points. They become commodities for targeted advertising or premium subscriptions, exploiting people at the exact moment they are desperately searching for hope. So, how do we fix this? Section 5, Rules for Digital Media Competence. Let's explore the safeguards we urgently need to resolve these tensions. Navigating this new landscape requires a completely brand new skill set. Religious media competence is the vital ability to critically, responsibly, and respectfully evaluate digital religious content. It's all about recognizing the firm boundaries between algorithmic information and actual spiritual care. Look, just because a platform delivers a religious message or an app feels super comforting doesn't mean it holds real theological validity or actually has your best interests at heart. So, how do we practically safeguard digital faith? First off, always verify the human source behind the content. Second, we need to demand transparent AI labeling. If a prayer or sermon was written by a machine, you absolutely deserve to know. Third, we must fiercely protect sensitive pastoral data. And finally, always recognize the hard limits of automated care. Both institutions and individuals need to implement these practical steps, strictly separating digital information retrieval from actual human-led pastoral care. If you take away just one thing from this explainer, let it be this powerful truth. AI can process religious information, but it cannot carry religious responsibility. Technology is an absolutely brilliant tool for connection, education, and accessibility, but the heavy burden of spiritual guidance, of true empathy, and of moral responsibility, that must remain decidedly human. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder the next time you open a spiritual app or watch a religious video. Who or what is actually shaping your digital faith? Are your beliefs being molded by ancient wisdom and genuine community, or by engagement algorithms and habit-forming app mechanics? Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the digital evolution of religion. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.